This week, we touched on longer time horizons and just taking into account that an immediate win is cool, but in everything that you do, or at least in most areas, the kind of steps that you need to take now to ensure that, 3, 6, 12, even 24 months down the track, what you're doing now pays dividends.
Yeah, you touched on a concept of giving 15 times for every one ask. We gave some examples of actionable points for those that want to start, giving and how that can open up pathways for asks later on. And it might not even be an ask. The person you keep giving to may actually offer you something too. So be open to that as a possibility. We both gave some examples of where we've given and things have opened up or new ideas or magic has come on the back of that. So I think there'll be a lot in this for those that are early to mid in their journey and haven't yet started playing the big macro game of building relationships, playing long term, not being so transactional in the here and now.
Mm. And especially when you start to get into the bigger areas, the bigger projects, the bigger prices, the longer term and the longer time horizons, they really come into play. But hopefully you enjoy. And if you have any questions, drop it down below. We could, it kind of leads into that longer time horizons.
Mm.
The actions you make now are going to
Yeah,
determine the opportunities that you have in 3 to 6 months' time.
yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about that.
Well, it's just something I see in every facet. The cold calls you make now are the deals that you're going to land in 3 to 6 months. The people you
Yeah.
follow up are the deals you're going to land down the track, but also the content that you do, the people you connect with are going to determine the opportunities that you have
Mm-hmm.
in even 6 to 12 to 24 months.
Mm-hmm. 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 So what's the take home message? Like play the long game, like long game over short game as a general rule of thumb.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look at the trip that you just did. You just got back a month ago from a week in the States. And my impressions as an outsider looking in is you had two key interactions there, if I'm not mistaken. You went to Robert Posey's place in Georgia, spent some time there with him, and then you obviously went to the event. I think Dean's your main contact there, if I'm not mistaken.
So,
At the,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and both of them are outcomes from non-transactional based, what's in it for me, what can I get out of this today, relationships that developed, and then confidence and trust that came that naturally led to that. So I don't think you consciously had a long-term strategy with either of those two guys, but you created a relationship that long-term opened up and created something that wouldn't have existed had you not done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the majority of the people I've connected with, I think at the start it was just how do I connect with someone that's going to get me an offer? And you're
Mm-hmm.
DMing people with that exact intention. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of you have to realize you can be intentional about landing an offer, reaching out to a company and getting it done really quickly. I was actually chatting to someone about this yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
about, if all of this went south, everything went south, you'd be able to get a sales job literally within 24 hours. If you
Yep.
could, you would be able to.
Yep.
So you always have that to draw. But the best opportunities that a lot of people get are from the people they connect with now and what comes around.
Yep.
So even with a perfect example, the chiller company that we're scaling at the moment, there are associated things that are required. So people that do specific tasks or projects that are associated with what we do that come earlier. Now, we get requests for that all of the time. And the approach that I take is I find someone that's really good at doing that. I refer the work to them. They always offer money or incentives and that sort of stuff. I say, no, no, no. You just look after them and I'm happy to send it across.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been give. Literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in the past month have gone to people that I've connected with that do a good job. Nothing has come back. I haven't been paid for it. I haven't been incentivized. But now, as of the last couple of days, they're referring us into projects that are coming their way. And
Yep.
that's a month. But the approach with that is I want to look after good people because I know that goodwill will come back over
Yep.
time. And it's the same thing with building your network in remote sales and all of that sort of stuff. You just help people, connect with people. Obviously, there are a few bad fish who'll just take advantage and you'll pick that up really quickly. But connect with people, build a relationship knowing that in 6, 12, 24 months, it will pay dividends overall, and you have a big net to fall back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Um, I mean, I don't even know if I have anything to add to that because it's to me it's so obvious. And yes, as you said, there will be one or two that don't go well, but you do this for the 98% where it goes well, or at least is neutral, not for the 2% that you end up feeling exploited by or feeling bad about that interaction. That's just part of the deal. So don't be put off by that. Don't focus on that. Um, I mean, I don't even know what to add to that because it's so comprehensive.
Mm.
Do you have
So
any other thoughts?
I think the question that we cover is, how do you go about that? So my approach is always to give, as
Yep,
in, hey, I came across so and so, they're looking for this. I hear you do it. Are
yep,
you happy if I connect you to them? Or if
yep,
we come across people who are XYZ, I know that's your specialty. Is that something that you'd be happy to do? And
yep.
everyone says yes. And if you can go in, like there's a fine line. So people can tell when that's disingenuous.
Hmm.
When it's like, oh, they're saying this, but I know they mean this. But if
Hmm.
you go in literally like, I'm going to give, so I'm going to refer you someone, or so and so asked this, I think you're the person for that. All of a sudden, it's just like, oh, what's the catch? And if there's no catch over time, I think that's how you really build it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So you're not as in high ticket as you were a few months ago. Your focus at the moment is elsewhere, but you spent a lot of time where it was your main focus. A lot of our viewers are in high ticket. What would you suggest is a good place to start for the typical guy who is listening to this and thinking, yeah, that makes sense. I don't really do that, but I know I should and I now want to. What's a good start point?
Don't make the interaction about you. It's
Hmm.
not about you. So to start with, you want to make the person feel seen. So if it's content that you're engaging with,
Yep.
engage with their posts a couple times.
Yep.
Actually add some value to them, be seen, and
Yep.
then don't ask for something, because you know that as soon as you get that DM, I'm wondering if, I just want to know if.
Hmm.
Compliment them, acknowledge them, make
Hmm.
them feel as though, oh, like this person's not asking for something straight away.
Yep.
And the person that asks straight away gets written off, but the person that gives doesn't. So
Yep.
engage, comment, reach out to them, or even if they don't have content, if you come across someone that's looking for something, just send them a message, even if it doesn't go through. Say,
Hmm.
hey, I spoke to so and so, they're looking for this. Is that something you do? Can I send them to you?
Yep, yep, yep. One of the ways that I suggest that sort of is similar to what you said then is, and I actually did this today. Alan Saltonick did a post, and I liked it, and it was about a topic I've been talking about a lot with my group. So I shared the post, obviously tagged him in it, and put some commentary around it in a positive sense. So that's a really powerful way to get started. And for those, it kind of crosses over into those that haven't developed a content strategy yet because they haven't yet found the confidence or found their voice or found their angle. Therefore, they're not, posting like you and I do every day. That's a nice soft way to start posting as well. You're killing two birds with one stone. Firstly, you're endorsing, you're supporting, cheerleading, spreading the word from somebody else's message that you resonate with for whatever reason. And that's appreciated. I mean, I get my posts shared from time to time. I know you do too. I always appreciate that and I do notice it. And those people do make a little deposit in the Goodwill Bank from my end. They're ultimately an asset to me, if they're doing it with good intent and doing it well. And secondly, not that our topic is this, but it gets you starting to feel confident putting your name out there and writing content as well. But that's a conversation for another day. So I think that's a really good start point, is to spend some time each day on various platforms, look at the content that you resonate with, share it, tag the person, put some commentary around it, let everybody know why you're sharing it, what you like about it, how and why it resonates. And you'll be surprised how much goodwill and visibility by extension you start building on the back of that. And it's really easy to do. Everyone can start doing that as soon as today.
I think that you just touched on something that's really good there. So you can tell when someone posts content because they're trying to sell you stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's just a pitch. Everything's look at me, look how great I am. Those people, I mean, if they're selling an e-com solution or a get rich quick scheme, that kind of works.
Yep.
But in general, if someone's constantly posting and trying to get you to buy their stuff, you know straight away, oh, that's what that person is. They're just pitched 24/7. Whereas when you follow someone that posts really valuable content, and they might post 20 pieces of content that helps you until they make the tiniest little ask, and it could be as simple as a review or look at this, or can I get some feedback on this?
Mm.
That's the goodwill bank that you were talking about before.
And I've had versions of that in the past. I've had people that I've seen liking, commenting, sharing my content, and it felt genuine. It didn't felt like there was an ask coming the next day. You see those ones coming a mile away,
Mm.
and then they're in my DMs a month, 2 months, 3 months later, whatever it is. And it might start off by saying something along the lines of, "Hey, Michael, been following your content for a while. Really resonate with a lot of it. Thank you. Wanted to ask one question. I'm a young guy up and coming. Can I ask you one question?" Something like that. I will never, ever say no to that. And now we start having a conversation. Now, who knows where that conversation goes, but we're having a conversation. Whereas if they DM me out of the blue, "Hey, Michael, can I ask you a question?" Or worse, "Can we have a 15-minute, coffee Zoom date,"
Right,
or
pick your
that
brain.
effect, or they just send the question through, high chance they don't get what they're looking for. But that required that person to play the long game. I mean, that was like a 2 or 3 month, play from their end. And they might be doing versions of that simultaneously with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people at any given moment in time. And some of those will open up into relationships. You just never know.
I think going back to the original topic, longer time horizons, it's the same with prospects as well.
Yep.
So I did a newsletter about this on full sales cycles versus the closing element. So
Mm-hmm.
by the time someone gets on a closing call with you, they've already vetted the company within reason. They've
Mm-hmm.
seen some content. They know who you are. They know what you do. And the reason they book a call is probably because you have a problem or they have a problem that they think you can solve.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already in momentum. They're moving in the sales process. Whereas full sales cycle, they probably don't know about you. You've
No.
cold called someone and you have to get them moving to start with. So you've got to build any kind of momentum within them. You've got to have them realize, one, that they have a problem that you're able to fix, two, build some curiosity in them and have them buy into a certain point. You can't move them most of the time, obviously depending on the price tag and that sort of stuff. You and I'll preface this: higher price tags. This is more important. You're not going to move them from zero to $100,000 sale on that first cold call when they have no idea who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very unlikely.
Yep.
Whereas if you look at it over a longer time horizon, like this call is going to build curiosity and
Mm-hmm.
awareness within themselves to start them moving
Yep.
along a process that might be 3 to 12 months.
Yep.
That's the way you need to look at those sort of things as longer. Like, could you shorten it? Yes. Would it be at your expense? Most likely. But if you can look at the relationships that will get you work and the relationships that will get you sales, both of those take a lot longer than just a single DM.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Any other thoughts or tips or actionable next steps that somebody watching this who's new to this world could do or could think?
Mm.
I might add
Uh,
one more. I might add one more if that's okay. So as you know, I run a group training program, and at the moment we've got like 55, 60 people in there, and it's growing and going well. But there's people of all different levels in there. That's the reason why I'm mentioning this. If you're sort of young up and more at the young and up and coming or mid level, you can start doing it within groups like this as well. By building relationships with more connected, more senior, more savvy, higher level sales pros, effectively get to a point where they like you, they trust you, they kind of are on your team. You may get a quasi mentorship from that in a very unofficial sort of way. You may have them keep an eye out for you and make some introductions and point you in the right direction. And there's all sorts of ways you can do that. One of the ways is by offering to buy half an hour of their time. You don't always have to make an ask that involves no transaction element. Like that actually is a good way to get the attention of somebody who's higher status or busier or more important on the hierarchy, sense. You might say something like, "Hey, James, I know you're a busy guy, but I've seen you in the group and I really admire you, and I think you're the guy that I want to learn most from. Do you have a half hourly rate or an hourly rate so I can buy an hour of your time and, treat that as a paid mentorship session because I really want to learn from you?"
mm,
You won't get shot down. Now, they might not say yes. They might over and offer it to you for free, or you might get it at an affordable price point, or even if it's market rates. If you've determined that person's worth it, pay the money, make the investment, spend the time with them. does a couple of things. It gets you closer to that person. It gets you having a direct line of communication to them. It gets you learning directly from them. And it shows the person who's more senior than you, this guy's serious. This guy's so serious that, plus the more senior person gets a little bit of an ego buzz from it. Like, I've been recognized, people see me as being high level. They can like that feeling because they might not get that from others. But they know you're serious as well. If this guy's bought an hour of my time and his questions were good, okay, I can see he's young and green, but he's hungry and made of the right stuff. Maybe I see a bit of myself in him. You might get a soft quasi mentorship on the back of it, or doors open up. So an ask doesn't always have to be without you giving something in return, appealing to their goodwill. It can be, listen, you're a busy guy. I don't expect anything for free. Let me buy half an hour of your time. You'll get a very good response if you do that.
I agree. The only thing I'll add on the end of that is give 15 to one ask. So give out 15 times. So share, add, everything like that to one ask. And that ratio is unbelievably reasonable, because if you have requested nothing but added value 15 times, even 10 times in a row, and then you make one small ask of someone, it's very unlikely that they won't be willing to indulge it.
Yep. Can you think of any recent examples where you have given or you have asked, that you're, question without notice, of course, that you're willing to share?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned it before, the associated trades. One associated trade to what we do.
Mm-hmm.
There were two companies that I initially shared the work with, and that was a couple $100,000 each of work for them, and they completely destroyed it. So then I found one other company that does it much smaller, much more driven, and I've now referred all of the work to them. So in the past month, there's been probably 7 or 8 projects I've referred to them, and they're going to get all of them. And he keeps saying to me that, I just hope that I'm able to give something back to you. I really appreciate this, and I just said, do a good job. It doesn't matter. But I know now he's able to operate at a good level in the space that I'm in, and we have a great relationship. I don't expect anything in return, because him doing a good job ultimately helps our business. However, with another trade that I did that with, it's been 3 months and I've sent him so much work. It's not even funny. Last week he calls me. I'm going to see so-and-so. I'm going to connect you. Have you connected with this lot? No? Great. I'm going to see them again. Let's catch up for a coffee and we're going to go through it. I didn't ask anything. I just gave. And genuinely, I wasn't doing it to get it back. It was just, people have a problem. They need help with it. He wins, they win. And overall, I win by connecting great people.
My most recent example that I can share, or that comes to mind, was recently, 10 days ago, give or take. I took a phone call from Lola, who you know. She took our profile photos, the same profile photos that you see on the image for this video. She took those photos here in Guatemala. She reached out to me and asked me to meet with her nephew, Guatemalan guy, and who has a bit of an entrepreneurial flair, speaks half decent English. Anyway, he's at a point where he, is trying to decide on his next move, and what we do is potentially interesting to him, but he knows nothing about it. So she asked if I'd give him a call and just a quasi mentoring session, which I did. No problems at all. I spent 45 minutes with him on the call. I expect nothing back in return. Happy to give, happy to play it forward, all that sort of stuff. Apart from it being a positive conversation where I think it'll change outcomes for him, which gives me a degree of warm and fuzzies and satisfaction for helping somebody, especially the fact that I'm very close to, the lady that referred. It actually generated a new business idea as well, which I won't share yet because it's still at, sketch out stage. But speaking to him, and this is an unintended benefit. I was going in with a pure giving perspective to a guy who's in his 20s, half my age, in a different world. And on the back of the questions I was asking him, trying to give him clarity on what could be a good call for him, we uncovered an opportunity. Now, it's very early days, but something might happen there. So I guess the take-home point is, whilst I expected nothing in return and gave without any expectation, you just never know where these conversations can go. and magic can happen at any moment in time. I'm all about increasing the chances of magic happening. So, if you want to take home message from today, increase the chances that magic can happen in the future, because you just never know what act, what person, what moment, what intersection, something unbelievable happens. And that to me, so that was my last.
Called the luck surface area. You put yourself in more situations where you can be lucky.
Yes, yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you'd be open, by extension, you'd be open to the idea that inspiration ideas can happen at any moment in time. I didn't see that coming. I did not make that call thinking, speaking to a 22-year-old at university, in a different world to me, even though we're in the same country, in a different world to me, I'm going to have a new business idea. But I did.
Mm. Mm. I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. So if you have any questions, drop a comment down below. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.